Hi everyone, this is Martina. As you see from the title of this video, we are going to be talking about digestion and proper chewing and why is it important to chew the food properly for our overall health and definitely for the digestive system. So in the course of past year in particular, I got to work with a lot of people having high profile positions in their work, meaning business owners, executive leaders, directors, managers in corporate world, etc. And all these people have usually fast-paced lifestyle and even stressful lifestyle. And when it comes to getting healthier and getting fitter, it does require certain change, changing in our routine most often, changing in the eating habits and the food choices as well, right? And when it comes to way of eating, this is something which these people find extremely difficult to transform in the reality and to change and create a new habit and create a new routine in the way they are eating. And so usually when I question about the lifestyle and how they go about their day-to-day routine in terms of food and meals, there is hardly any breakfast. There is lunch between the meetings, quick bite here, quick bite there, while they are doing something else, either preparing the presentation for the next meeting or rushing on the street from A to B for the next meeting, etc., right? Now, all of these means that we are not really paying attention to the way how we eat, and we are not staying present with the food, right? And so in terms of negative effects, it means that, which is the worst thing ever, that we are not chewing the food properly, definitely. When we are on the go and we are paying attention to something else, we are not really paying attention how well we chew the food. And that has multiple negative consequences on our health and our digestive system in particular. So why is it important that we chew the food properly? As I have said, mouth is already part of the digestive system. And not only gets the solid food somehow mashed, if you will, in the mouth, but it gets, most importantly, mixed with saliva, and that is containing digestive enzymes. And this is one of the most important factors which we are not taking into the consideration when we are eating, and when we are eating hastily in particular. The mixing of solid food with saliva is especially important when we eat carbohydrates. While carbohydrates digestion starts already in the mouth with the amylase, which is the carbohydrates digestive enzyme, is abundantly present in saliva. And so whether is it fruits or vegetables or potatoes or bread or legumes, for example, or rice, no matter which carbohydrates we pick, it still starts to be digested in the mouth through the help of saliva and enzymes, digesting enzymes contained in saliva. Now, this is the number one factor which we do need to keep in mind when we are eating the food, and we need to keep in mind when we chew the food, if we chew the food properly, which is mostly not the case. And when I ask my clients to count how many times they chew bite before they swallow it, they come usually to about 10 to 15, 20 at most. But that's most probably not the case. And yet this is not enough. And for the fun of the things, next time with your next meal, try to count just normally when you eat your normal, typical, usual way, how many times do you chew your bite before you swallow it? And you will be able to see that you most probably you come as well somewhere between 10 to 15 times, and that is not enough. Now, we need to keep in mind that when we eat food, nothing will leave the stomach in the solid state, really. Everything has to be mashed and pureed, if you will, to liquid consistency before it moves stomach farther on into digestion. And so when we eat bread, or when we eat meat, or when we eat hard vegetables, such as carrot, for example, and we do not chew it properly, you can imagine how hard stomach needs to work to get all these food really mashed to liquid-like consistence, right? Now, the worse we chew the food, or the less we chew the food, the harder stomach needs to work and the longer the digestion. In addition to that, it substantially lengthens the way, the time until the stomach is going to be able to get the mashed liquid kind of consistency out of the solid food. In addition to this, that it does take substantially longer time than when we are eating, when we chew the food properly. It can have negative effects down the line further on. It can cause bloating, it can cause flatulence, it can cause various fermentation processes in our gut, which are unpleasant. It can cause stomach cramps, really full unpleasant feeling in the stomachs. And now when you eat on the go, it can happen that a lot of, or many of us did experience this kind of way sometime in our life. And you can imagine, or you can think back how unpleasant and full you were. At the same time, we eat more food than we would normally eat because the satiety kicks in later than when we do eat slowlier and when we are really present with a way of chewing and chewing properly the food. That's where we reach satiety faster. And so not only from the point of getting the large pieces of food to a smaller chunks and to mixing it well with the saliva for the better digestion, but also for the overall health and for the ease on the stomach and overall digestive system. It is so incredibly important to chew the food properly. Now, I have said that 15 or 10 times is definitely not enough to before we swallow the food. So how much is really enough? Ideally, we should chew every bite up to 50 times before we swallow it. And you will find when you try it yourself how difficult it is really to chew on one bite of pasta, for example, to 50 times before you swallow it. But it is so incredibly important, in particular for the carbohydrate-rich food, like pasta, like rice, which if they are mixed with kind of some sauce, then they are quite slippery and you tend to swallow it much, much faster. And that is exactly what should not happen, right? So keep in mind that 50 times should be ideal way before you swallow any bite of the solid food. And that is especially important if you do experience some digestive issues, if you do experience bloating or gas or flatulence, or if you have an inflammatory condition in your gut, IBS, IBD, stomach ulcers. The better chewed food, the easier it is on overall digestive system. Health is in our gut. We need to keep in mind that. And so way how we go about chewing and being really present with the food you eat is so incredibly important for our overall health. Now, you say like, yeah, but what about soups? When you have a creamy vegetable soup, when you have a smoothie. Now, I am really reminding my clients that they should not only drink their calories. And while is it very handy to have a smoothie, and I don't say you should not have any, or I don't say you should not ever eat a creamy vegetable soup, because what are you going to chew about it, right? It's already all buried in the soup. But just because of importance of cellular enzymes for the carbohydrates, we should not be only drinking calories, right? Now, if you are, for example, 10 days on some fasting, for example, or cleansing rather, that's okay. I mean, if you decide to do a cleanse for 10 days where you only drink fresh vegetable juices or fresh fruit juices and you do the smoothies, that's all right. But on the bigger scale, on the greater scheme of things, we should not be only drinking our calories, and we should be paying attention to salivary glands and proper mixing the food with saliva. And even if you are eating the cream of vegetables, something creamy soup, or even a smoothie, we should not be swallowing every single sip right away, but rather holding it a little bit in the mouth and making sure that you mix it with saliva too. Even if you do not have to chew anything, but you can still hold every single sip of smoothie or of the juice or of the vegetable soup in your mouth to ensure that it's really well mixed with saliva before you swallow it. So being and staying with the food, not rushing and not eating on the go, it's so incredibly important for our health and digestive system. And if you from time to time happen to having to rush and not having time for lunch, I would suggest that you avoid eating on the go and avoid eating while you're rushing, but rather wait a little bit and stay present and pay attention to what you eat and how much and how often and how well you chew every single bite of your food, no matter what is it, meat or what is it, bread or what is it, vegetables, or you name it. So it will help you for overall well-being and digestion. And even though this might be most probably one of the most difficult routine and habits we would need to develop, it will come basically with any habits. If we are persistent, you will soon realize how much better you feel when you chew your food properly. So I'll leave you with that, and I'm really curious when you try to chew your food, and drop a note below if you find yourself coming to the 15 and how easy or difficult you have found it to be, and how well you will feel after you've been changing the way how you go about your meal and the chewing in particular. So that's all for now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.